Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, another wondrous Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dane. Straight here with the new patch, the latest patch, a 1 vs 1 on Minsk Pocket. Yes, indeed, Minsk Pocket. We shall be watching Armyguy fighting for the Germans for the 2nd SS Panzerdivision Das Reich. Rolling out versus Trey X for the Soviet Union and the 50th Mechanized Brigade. Noting here, doctrines are Spearhead, Jägerarme and Lightning War versus Trey X's NKVD Rifle Disruption Tactics. That's rare to see nowadays, but that doesn't mean it's actually a bad doctrine, it's just different, and for some people that can be tricky. Shock Rifle Frontline Tactics and Guard Motor Coordination Tactics. Wunderbar. Popping back though to Armyguy to sort of keep things there, but I'm trying to get more in about the doctrines earlier in, so sort of people can get an idea what people choose as well, perhaps get their own ideas. First Grenadier squad popping out here for Armyguy. Leute. Moving out his Grenadiers there, slowly but surely up the centre, where's the Pioneers being sent up on a right hand move. And of course, my apologies to those who sort of tuned in last night or last afternoon, depending of course where we were in the world, when Relic was streaming some details on the patch and even a match where I was commenting on. Apparently there were some technical difficulties, so I sadly didn't go through. I tried my best to find some commentary which Peter could then relay, but obviously that didn't quite work out as intended. Hopefully there'll be another chance for me. I would certainly not be surprised if there was, so perhaps look forward to that. Anyways, MD42 following up here, also noting the sort of startup we're seeing from Trey X. It's the sort of Special Drive Command build start. He's going to be very delayed in actually capturing territory. This is what the more risky plays actually from the Soviets are trying to sort of trade some more immediate firepower for time and ground in that sense. Well, the other way around, essentially, but still. Moving up one single lonely combat engineer squad. Snipers moving out first, so that way he's hoping to lay on some pressure. Catch Armyguy off guard. Of course, that's also part of this. You suddenly move in with some snipers, the opponent gets caught off guard, and usually you don't expect that sort of thing. Snipers early on, and it's partly the mental shock, and otherwise, the pressure that sniper provides, he's trying to go in for. Of course, he's also going to be forced to use the snipers to actually take ground with initially. So, of course, there's some tricky bits here and there. So far, though, two Grenadiers. We're actually noting here fast taking up from Armyguy, so he's not going to be sitting back much long. It's going to be a bit of a rush from Armyguy. He's just taking the bare solid minimum, that is 2 Grenadiers MG. I would say the good minimum is always 4 units from the infantry company, but this can also work if you can sort of work it swiftly enough. And of course in this sort of build we are seeing from Trey X, it's actually going to work out nicely, though it's going to be a bit of a coincidence. Second unit out is actually a penal battalion. Too bad it's not time for the challenge yet, but still, that is certainly one way of doing it. This rushing the Special Drive Command out and getting some penal battalion troops, doing much more damage than conscripts. In fact, they're one of the most highest damage units in the game, just straight out. And of course, as they gain more veterans, they certainly become more lethal that way. They are all equipped with SVT-40s, the Soviet semi-automatic rifle of choice. In fact, also the basis for the German Gewehr 43. How it's equipped actually seems to have been, slightly less clear. I mean, you'd find units which you wouldn't expect to be equipped with them. For example, naval troops, which are basically formed out of the crews of ships, fully equipped with SVT-40 semi-automatics, or semi-automatics more specifically. So, a little less sure on how that sort of worked in terms of organization and equipment tables. But we're also seeing here pressure being applied by the sniper, and we're also seeing here that Trey X is trying to do some aggressive harassment, sort of make up for the fact he wasn't able to gain as much ground. Scout car here appearing, might join up there with the penal troops. And there we go, the SVT-40s firing at the Grenadiers, and Grenadiers are immediately forced away, already suffering 2 losses. The presence of such a nastily equipped force certainly makes a difference, and in some cases there seems to have been some variation on how penal troops were actually equipped as well. I've seen some claim they were actually well equipped, in some cases with automatic weapons, in other cases of course they weren't. It rather seems to have depended on the mission, where they expected to just sweep a minefield, that is, using themselves. Of course they weren't to that equipped. In some cases though, they seem to have been quite nicely though, but again I'm not so strong on that, so it's more the research of others I'm sort of presenting that way. But playing a bit aggressively here. And now a conscript squad out, so a bit of a mix of units here from Trey X. Conscript versus Grenadiers. And we are noting here that Trey X is actually not holding a lot of ground. And there we go, Scout car out. Leichte Panzerspeerwagen. Of course, that's one of the units now benefiting from some of the new changes. Also, changes have actually involved some changes to population count. I believe Scout car might be one of those. Might be wrong. Either way, though, the benefit is now that when you upgrade the autocannon, it actually retains the coaxial machine gun now. Previously it didn't, but now it does, which actually means you're all not worse off upgrading it. You're certainly not going to be with a scout car can do nothing after it's destroyed an intended target. Though in this case you need to be careful. The SVT-40s are actually quite effective against German scout cars if you're not too careful. Though right here, of course, Trey X also need to be careful. He's actually out in the open. He's taking a lot of damage from the scout car and the Grenadiers. Satchel charge off. You need to get away. Good lord. Almost wiped out the entire squad. That was bloody well close. A bold use of the satchel charge, but in this case it actually worked off. Also known here again, aggressive harassment from both players. Another conscript squad here, so interesting. I would have figured perhaps a few conscript squad first from Trey X, then the penal troops apparently decided against it. And looks like what will be next here for Armyguy, who's secure at the left. The right is a little tenuous. Pioneers in trouble. Grenadiers forced away here from the left. So all of a sudden, Armyguy's in trouble. Although we will see here the Pioneers removing the snipers. The snipers need to be careful. Scout car doing what it can. 50 caliber fire raking the Pioneers. Sniper down, and we might see the Pioneer squad actually go down here for Armyguy, and that would certainly be a bit of a brutal blow. But no, they succeed, and also... Oh. No, the penal troops actually survived. I was a bit worried I couldn't see them all of a sudden. But continuing here to just take away territory. Moving up with his conscripts, and again harassment. Scout car repaired, and now we actually see it upgraded. And again, now it's actually a more effective upgrade. Certainly a difference actually going to have some impact. Troops advancing. Conscript down. Veterans one, of course, an infantry awareness ability. A neglected ability I would like to add. It's a field so bunker up, so that's likely going to be an upgrade. Conscripts advancing, need to be careful, of course. Now they do have to worry a bit about the coaxial machine gun. Suffering a bit of damage there. Although the scout car did take a bit of a beating. Guard infantry also arriving. So that rather narrows things down, considering there was only one guard structure, and that was Guard's motor. Grenadiers advancing up here. 3 squads of Grenadiers now. Looks like he's going out for more. And in that case, of course, the 2 doctrines are probably best, or at least the one would be Lightning War, since he's got a lot of infantry that could benefit from that. Penal troops advancing, need to be careful, of course, with the scout car around. Conscripts moving up as well. Being raked with autocannon fire, and there we go, machine gun and autocannon tears through several conscripts, ending the lives of several in the blink of an eye. Conscripts, though, continue without remorse, without hesitation. There we go, the scout car. Oh no! Conscript squad wiped out by the Pioneers attending as well. He should have retreated right there. Instead he did. Now the penal troops might be the next ones in danger, though they continue to fight for the Rodina and the motherland. Whoops, my apologies if something sounds a bit off there. SVT-40s continue to fire in. Also, fun fact, the SVT-40 was actually a downgrade of a previous Soviet weapon, the ABT-36, which was a Soviet attempt at an automatic battle rifle, which is basically... It's sort of like an assault rifle, but instead of firing shorter assault rifle rounds, it actually fires full bolt action rounds. And the problem with that is the rifle couldn't actually handle the recoil of that. And there we go, the penal troops finally retreat. Sniper here needs to be careful, the scout car's advancing again. And heavy mortar, we're also noting a regular mortar out from Armyguy. Half-tech on the way here for the Das Reich Truppen. We're seeing a nice dominating push through the center here, but Sniper is very much exposed, needs to get out of there. Trying to hide in the trees. The scout car advances. Yeah, I sense something here. And there we go, Sniper taught. And veteran 2 for the scout car. Now the Soviet scout car is the one in trouble here. Trey X might have wanted to be a bit more careful with these things. End result being that this scout car is doomed. Heavy mortar might be the next target. As the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 255 moves up. Mortar troops are dying. A horrible death. An MG42 has been set up here in this building. And guards troops flanking in. I don't think they have light machine guns. Quick grenade. Ooh, straight on the mortar. Also noting 2 Pioneer squads now, and the guards troops actually end up retreating in the face of all this submachine gun fire, actually. Interesting enough, I think he could have won that one, but apparently he felt a bit worried and needed to retreat. But we are noting here that Trey X is a bit low on units in comparison. And looks like a Tankovi battalion command is going up next. Penal troops continuing up. He could of course consider upgrading it with a flamethrower. And there we go, Veteran 2-1. It's another salty charge versus the Grenadiers. And looks like one is a bit far off. Thus, another squad almost wiped up there. Vicious work, vicious work. Germans are nicely gaining ground. Bit the problem with the sort of build that Trey X went with. He rather in that sense limited him a bit himself with some on front, more expensive units, losing a bit ground initially. Of course, he could consider mining something to try and stop things up that way.
You need a suicide squad? Strafniki have secured us here, standing by. I have the men ready.
And Tankovi battalion continues to go up. A bit of quiet. Points being secured. But an armoured rush here from Trey X. And it would look like Mr. Armyguy would in fact be very vulnerable to this. So can he pull it off successfully?
Yes? What do you need?
2 more tougher infantry squads advancing up the centre. Heavy mortars to support it all. Scout cars, Pioneers and a single Grenadier squad holding up the centre. That might not fully work. And another Guards infantry squad. Lots of anti-tank rifles. And going for the munitions point. That's actually a good move. He needs some more munitions.
What do you need?
And there we go. Full advance up here from the German troops. Pioneers supporting a Grenadier squad. Penal troops here could definitely prove to be quite handy if they stand still. Instead, he's actually moving them closer to the Pioneers. That, on the other hand, I would call a bit of a tactical mistake. Heavy mortar rounds falling down. Penal troops taking through and actually ending up retreating. Bit of a shame. Heavy mortars not having much luck. Scout car half-track moving up to support as well. Situation is looking a bit of rubbish here for Trey X. Again, the penal trooper handling there could have been a bit better. They're equipped with semi-automatic rifles, not submachine guns. There we go. Mortar rounds falling down though. So far, not really hitting anything, or at least nothing important, nothing that's squishy. Guards infantry doing what they can to delay, and now we're seeing a fresh German counterattack after being reinforced from the half track. And there we go, Grenadier squad almost wiped out. That is good for the Russians, that is. Also noting the T-34-76 has been made slightly cheaper in terms of fuel, slightly more expensive in terms of manpower. Heavy mortars continue to fall down. Lots of grenades here, and oh, wonderful grenade here, bunched up, blobbed off. In fact, good move there from Trey X and grenading. Certainly made one hell of a difference. Pretty much broke up Armyguy's advance right there, and that's something that Armyguy shouldn't have been doing. Penals was quickly returning back, and they will soon be Veterans too, in which case they will be more accurate, which is really going to sort of make them very, very dangerous, since they're going to be a lot more accurate with their semi-automatic rifles, which means overall they're going to be doing a lot more damage. Continuing the harassment over here, good move, always having one squad moving about, taking points. Well done, well done. Getting close to be able to call in the T-34-76, and of course they have received some changes as well. They do more damage now, they also have a higher chance of penetrating. Slightly higher, and their RAM has also been changed, so it actually is less likely to sort of, you know, completely disable a thing like a Tiger or an Elephant tank. So this same applies to, for example, a Panther, though they have a higher chance of that, for example, say, than a Tiger tank.
They are not real soldiers, but they will do.
SU-85 has also, I believe, made a bit slower, and I'm not sure if it's also received less frontal armor. It shouldn't be less impressive. Might want to move the penal troops up here into cover. Scout cars are pouring up, and Veterans are free, meaning it does a lot more damage. That means the main gun, of course, a coaxial machine gun, bad news here for the penal troops. And there we go, another satchel charge. Doing the work, gaining advantage. 2 heavy mortar continues to fire away. Guards infantry not reinforced. He's going for the T-34-76. Guards infantry advancing up. And scout car needs to immediately be engaged. But of course Veteran 2 makes it a bit harder for the Guards infantry to deal with. And of course Veteran 3 much more of a trouble to deal with. But there we go. Heavy mortar doing a bit of damage. German mortar firing away in support. Rifle grenades flying through the air. The Guards troops, oh, just move in time. Troops here need to reinforce quickly. Schnell. Or dabei, whatever. And I do believe it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is, in terms of territory, a bit in the advantage of Armyguy, but on the other hand, CoH2 still has a decent force. He's got plenty of elite infantry, though, of course, that presents its own challenges, but he also has the Veteran 2 penal troops. If he can utilize them in the correct manner, he can actually end up doing a lot of damage to his opponent, since they will be quite nasty now. It, of course, also has the heavy mortar, so, for example, also a bit of a precision strike, the right spot could actually end up doing him quite the favour. Of course, he's also getting armor on the way, and of course, that's really where he can knock something home, because currently, the only thing that Armyguy really has that can present any sort of challenge currently is the Veteran 3 scout car, and that's going to have to be through some clever maneuvering and a lot of support from Grenadiers. Otherwise, I mean, in a 1 versus 1 fight, it's going to go down really quickly. And of course, the only reason it actually stands as somewhat of a chance is to do to Veteran 3, giving it more damage, of course, also making it tougher. And of course, in that sense, that's really currently Armyguy's Achilles heel. That's the fact he has absolutely nothing to handle with armor. And of course, CoH2 should really push the armor advantage as much as possible, push forwards aggressively, hard, without mercy, take as much territory, and be gaining mining up approaches after that. If he can do that, he can probably win. He also needs to secure this victory point over there. Of course, for Armyguy, the thing he needs now, of course, is something to defend against tanks. It's really a huge gap to have in his force composition for that long, and really needs something to be rectified, either with a pack or with some actual armor. He also might want to consider mining up some stuff. Otherwise, keep up the pressure and keep CoH2 contained. So let's return to the fight and see how this actually evolves. And there we go, direct hit on the mortar from the Soviet mortar. And there we go, T-34-76 moving in. Now they're going to be down. The heavy mortar crew needs to retreat. And these troops need to begin moving as soon as they can. And there we go. Of course, also note that the increase of damage on the T-34 main gun actually means it's also more likely to kill infantry due to the parts of, the splash damage, where there's sort of one part where it does full damage, there's also one where it does less damage. And now that the overall damage has increased, even the part where it doesn't do full damage is going to be more likely to actually killing infantry. So in that sense, the T-34-76 has now been overall made more lethal. Not just against armor, but also against infantry. I mean, you're still not going to expect it to just go 1 versus 1 against a Panzer IV and expect it to win, but a few T-34-76 are definitely going to have a much greater chance of actually taking on any armor, and generally be a pain in the arse, in particular if you can flank the armor. But there we go. Already Panzer fires a bit unfortunate. He got too close to the enemy infantry. A bit of a mistake there, I would argue, from CoH2 in the 50th Mechanized Brigade. Point being secured there. Quickly moving up as much of his troops as possible. That's good, though he should be careful not blobbing up too much due to the presence of the Granatenwerfer.
We are awaiting orders. What do you need?
German mortar pulling back. He needs to spread out his infantry again. He's very much seeing himself up being hit by something. Not good. And of course he needs this repaired. He's got this. Oh yeah, in fact, there we go. Vehicle crew self-repair. Well done usage of that ability. And conscripts here just need to retreat. They don't stand a chance against this scout car here. This Veteran 3 scout car. Managed to damage it, knock out the engine, but ultimately the squad was lost. Needs to keep up the advance, keep up the advance. Instead he's stopped up with the Guards infantry. And is now taking losses. There we go, another Grenadier squad flanking up, Veteran 2. And actually, oh, there we go, pulling back. Heavy mortar force, German mortar force to retreat. Scout car opening up. Penal troops suffering losses. Need to be fully reinforced, I would suggest. I'm in fact seeing Armyguy centers completely falling apart. Although I think X could be using his tank a bit more aggressively. He's giving his opponent too much time to recover and actually pull back. And in fact we're seeing the heavy panzer corps going up in Armyguy's base, which rather indicates it's not going to be very fun what's coming next. Since it's clear that Armyguy is going for something big, which is either Sturmpanzer 4 or the Panther. And again, I mean, now X, he has the armor, and in a sense, he's got Armyguy on the back foot, but he's not pushing the advantage. He doesn't push the advantage. He could easily be rolling up several parts of the map, doing a lot of damage, but instead nothing is happening. And he's actually holding back his tank. So that could very well end up sabotaging, although it looks like he's managed to cut off all that part of the map. That's good. But he needs that T-34. Oh, there we go, second T-34 arriving. But again, if only could push more aggressively, all would be well. And he's getting a fourth guard squad. I think he's committing a bit of a mistake there of just spamming guards infantry. I think he should perhaps consider either investing towards something with a fuel cache or a munitions cache. Or perhaps getting some more penal troops. Need something a bit more aggressively to punish the enemy's infantry, or perhaps something else, but not more guards infantry. I think that's a bit over the top at the moment. In particular when he's not even fully using what he has at the moment. Guards infantry here, fighting a desperate fight against a scout car, but they do force away the scout car. Advance up here, mortar firing away constantly. And penal troops advancing, but again, they don't look like they've been fully reinforced.
Do you need something?
Not really good, X. Now he's got two T-34 76s, but he's still not really pushing any advantage, or at least trying to create one.
Guard squad ready.
Which I really can't help but feel is unfortunate. Oh, finally getting the T-34s moving. Finally. Time to pop over to Armyguy, by the way, who's getting a Panther at the very same time. Again, had the T-34s been more aggressive, there would be less support for the Panther. There we go. Combat engineers or pioneers in severe trouble. Burning up in horrible ways. Mortar fire, T-34 fire gun at disadvantage going to Panzerfaust. Being raked with machine guns from the tanks themselves. You might see in fact the Grenadier squad go down if Armyguy doesn't retreat in time. That was a bit close. And there we go, Panzerkampfwagen 5 rolling in. Straight from the Fatherland. T-34 receiving swift repairs. But the situation is definitely getting dangerous now. X did not push any advantage he had, and we're also noting Lightning War, though we're not noticing much usage of it at all. No KVR 43s, no relief infantry, no tactical movement, no Tiger tanks. In fact, we probably could have just waited for that instead of the Panther. And then again, maybe not. We are seeing the Panther now moving up.
Standing by! Here comes incoming! Ready for action? Liberated the objective!
There go T-34s advancing. They are splitting up. They're splitting up. And there we go. One comes target of the Panther. Nice hit there. T-34 continues. Panther quickly pulls away, keeping things at the front. T-34 needs to be pulled back for repairs. And the other T-34 actually needs support. And ramming. But no, the other T-34 is not paying attention. Instead, it actually seems to be taking some nasty damage from the other scout car. Fascinating. Fascinating indeed, but that's the Veteran T3 scout car for you. But this one is in trouble. Other T-34 moving up, a bit slow. And there we go, T-34 actually went down. Panthers receiving repairs. Mortar fire, they're raining down, killing some of the pioneers. Guards infantry doing what they can with the mortars, but they're simply overmanned and overpowered by the Grenadiers with the light machine guns. More guards infantry moving up. Penal troops have been, for some reason, sent up into this building. No idea what's going on there. And that T-34 desperately needs repairs, but looks like the German mortar crew is very intent on knocking it out. The Guards infantry are suffering some nasty losses. And there we go, Combineers taking heavy losses. Heavy mortar exchange, in fact, going on. And there we go, Combineer squad wiped out. And 30-44 coming out. And down.
Scout car awaiting orders. Ready for orders.
But as you can see, I mean, this scout car has definitely become a lot more effective after receiving that buff to the coaxial machine guns. It's actually useful. So that's certainly nice and dandy. T-34s have also become more useful themselves, but in this case, though, sadly, it rather feels like Trey-X really didn't utilize them to the full extent, which ultimately ended up sabotaging him.
That's everyone. Grenadiers ready. Pioneers awaiting orders. Panzer here.
Also noting that these units actually cost a lot more population cap now, so I mean, they're going to be also a bigger drain on your resources. For example, the Tiger tank now has 24, which is a considerably larger chunk of your population to actually begin destroying in.
Kampfwagen is ready. Infantry contact.
But we are noting here that Trex's forces are in a nasty state of disarray. And looks like another Guards infantry squad is being called in. Lots of Guards riflemen. Lots and lots of them.
Yeah. Ready for action. You need something?
Scout car also finally ready. Also a quick note as the game is about to end, as you can clearly note. I mean, thanks for all those who quickly sent in some replays here, so I had something to cast straight after the patch is out. That's great, and of course my apologies to those from the previous patch I wasn't able to cast, but again I get a lot of replays, I can't cast all of them. But you know, keep on sending them, eventually you might have a chance, but you know, also, you know, try to send in something that might actually be worth watching, which of course is a bit harder to determine. Still, kind of disappointing. I'll be supported by the Panther. Well done. Sniper now out for Armyguy, providing a bit of harassment that way. Half-track moving up. Up und away.
A new Grenadier squad is ready. I'm an excellent marksman.
And lots of Grenadiers all of a sudden. And there we go, the T-34 advances. Shot bounces off the front line of the Panther, no surprises there. I mean, it got a minor buff to penetration, which basically means it has a high chance of penetrating the rear armor. And there we go, also another change to ramming. You can't ram over such large distances, and basically if a tank pulls back, like the Panther, there's actually a chance the engine overheats, and thus becomes useless, as it happened right here. Basically the engine gave up right before the Panther. So now, as a German, you also have a high chance of basically avoiding it with your medium tanks. With the heavier tanks, I mean, there's also a chance of basically the ramming only stunning your tank for 5 seconds. That's it. So a bit of a quick episode here, highlighting some of the new changes, of course, not all of them. Hopefully giving you some ideas, seeing, you know, penal troops in action. They can be alright if you know how to use them. The problem here for Trey-X, there was partly, he didn't actually seem how to fully utilize them. That's a bit of a problem part with his, you know, risky strategy there early game, which he didn't quite, I feel, you know, take full advantage of. He had problems with the T-34s. He didn't fully utilize them. He was a bit too passive at times when he actually got them. When he had the armor advantage, he didn't push it, and that, I think, rather lost him the game. That, and you know, he split up his T-34s right as the Panther attacked, which definitely gave the Panther easily the advantage overall, and that ultimately, I think, resulted in the loss here from Trait X, but otherwise good unit preservation from Armyguy. Nice to see the scout here in action doing a lot of damage. Doctrinal choice, he probably could have done something with it, but that's just my opinion. Doctrinal choice 4, Trait X, well, he did alright with it, but I think he could have done more at the same time. And again, he probably would have benefited from fuel caches and perhaps try and go for the T-34-85s, but that's my opinion. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned a thing or two. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? Provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.